Welcome back. Well, on the University of Toronto campus, he has the reputation for running a brutal and even hostile course on economics and entrepreneurship. He was once called the millionaire jerk professor. But Reza Satchu works for free when teaching the course, and he founded a program that helps 36 students become entrepreneurs. The serial entrepreneur says the better his students are, the harder he is on them. Reza Satchu, also managing director of Guildwood Capital Management. Great to have you here.
Thank you, Amanda.
What caught our attention, of course, Reza, is your program, The Next 36. We alluded to it there, but you're basically trying to lay the groundwork to teach entrepreneurship. Before we get into what The Next 36 is, in your experience, is this something you can teach?
You know, it's interesting, right? This is the whole nurture versus environment debate around entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone has an answer as to whether you can teach entrepreneurship. Here is what I will tell you. I think you can certainly expose people, budding entrepreneurs, to models of success and models of entrepreneurs that have failed, so that they can actually get exposure as to what's possible and what steps they would have to take when they see situations that are similar to that in their own professional lives.
Let's talk about what you created here, the 36. Obviously, you're going to pull from everywhere the 36 best and brightest and put them in essentially a petri dish to give them an opportunity to accelerate faster than other programs? Is that what we see here?
Yeah, so we are going to take 36 of the most promising students from across Canadian universities, across faculties and across Canadian universities. So yes, we are based at University of Toronto, but there's no bias towards University of Toronto. We hope to have students from across the country. We are then going to provide them with an intensive set of experiences that we think will lead them to be better entrepreneurs.
And what are those experiences?
So
what's the course?
They start with, really think about them in three different buckets. The first bucket is we're going to give them capital and resources to launch their own business. $50,000 of services and cash for them to launch their own businesses. So they're going to have to actually make capital allocation decisions. They're going to develop a product. They're going to go after a market, solve a customer's problem, and they'll be measured at the end of that, at the end of our program. Number two, we're going to bring in academics from all over the world, leading academics when it comes to entrepreneurship, who are going to come in and treat them through an academic boot camp. And then third, equally importantly, what I'm so proud of with the Next 36 is the number of Canadian business leaders and entrepreneurs who've become a part of this. Everyone from Galen Weston to Nadir Mohammed to Francis Shen, who started his business in his university dorm room and has now got a business called Astro Technologies with $800 million of sales. So all of these folks who are going to be mentors, and when I say mentors, I mean real mentors to these students. They're going to take a real initiative and real time in working with these students.
So if I'm an MBA student or an HBA student somewhere in the Canadian system, how do I petition, and who decides if I'm one of the elite 36?
So this is the joke about, well, here's the problem with the Canadian university system. Right now, in order for your daughter to apply to a Canadian university, okay, all she needs to send is her grades. That is it. Okay, her grades, and then she'll be told where to go. Our process is going to be based on grades. It's going to be based on extracurricular activities. It's going to be based on 4 or 5 essays. It's going to be based on letters of reference, and it's going to be based on a resume. And we are going to pick our top 72 students. We'll fly them into Toronto free of charge to interview them, to have a face-to-face meeting with them with 3 other entrepreneurs to decide which 36 we're going to let in. So it is a very rigorous process.
Who pays for it? How's this funded?
It's all privately funded. So the student doesn't pay a dime.
You've gone out and raised money for this? You put some of your own money into it?
Absolutely.
Why?
Okay, so the reason is I, like many of your viewers, I'm sure, went to a Canadian undergraduate institution. When I left McGill, I wanted to go try to do something internationally. So I go down to Wall Street, and I remember thinking, as I'm surrounded by all these kids from Harvard, Stanford, and Yale, that these kids must be so much smarter, so much better educated. And what you learn after a few months is that these kids aren't better educated, they aren't smarter, but they do have 2 incredibly valuable advantages. Number one, throughout their undergraduate career, they've had exposure to leaders across multiple fields: entrepreneurs, business leaders, political leaders, community leaders. When I went to McGill, I had exposure to very few people outside of academia. And then the second advantage, which is a direct result of the first, is they have a far more expanded set of expectations, right? So they actually don't want to just write a book, they want to win the Pulitzer Prize. They don't want to be an engineer, they want to create the next Google. And that combination of exposure and expectations is what we're trying to create with the Next 36.
What do I actually get as a degree? Is this as good as the MBA I'm going to get from, let's say, Ivy Business School?
It's a hell of a lot harder to get this than an MBA from the Ivy Business School.
Reza, great to have you here.
Thank you.
We'll be following the progress of the Next 36 as well. I'll have you back to talk about it. Reza Satchu, managing partner, Guildwood Capital, co-founder of the Next 36. After the break, they're iconic, they're entertaining.